Well, a friend of mine just stopped by and dropped off the latest addition to his collection and asked if I would clean it up for him. He has a feeling that this is going to be pretty dirty and he doesn't like cleaning things, so he dropped it off with me. The only thing I know is that it's one of the relatively recent Mauser imports, so I'm guessing it's one of the Portuguese models. But let's get in here and take a look. All right, I got this box open except for this last little one here. So let's have a look at what we got here. Okay, so this is going to be one of the bundle deals from Atlantic Firearms that comes with the bayonet as well as 900 some rounds of 8mm Mauser, and it looks like, let's see what model he got here. Okay, here we are. You can see this is going to be the 0439 model, and it's really covered in cosmoline, which is nice. And this is very dirty also, but hopefully it's protected. The wood looks pretty good in there. There is a repair on the heel there. Let's take a look. Nice sling. I've seen others come with the cloth sling. Almost looks like a modified Enfield sling. This is nice and dirty, but it'll clean up well. Brass buttons on the leather sling. That's really, really nice. So, let's take a look a little closer here. Looking good. Bluing looks excellent on here. So continuing on up front, front sight looks good shape. Again, lots of cosmoline, which definitely helped protect this. You can see the barrel, the bluing looks great. Yeah, so there at some point there was some pitting here, so this was reblued. Hopefully only during the re-arsenal in 39. Yeah, the cosmoline's just jammed in there, which is great. Really cool front sight protector wings there. This is nice. Have a look at the muzzle. And the Century import mark there. All right. So here we are on the left side. You can see that repair job there. And again, dirty, but underneath there, that wood looks promising. So that's good. Sling looks nice. Bluing looks really good. In front sight, top handguard. Nice crest. And bluing looks really good. All right, let's get this down on the table and take a look at it. Let's take a look at the underside. There's the trigger guard. The magazine floor plate also matches, that's good. So that all looks pretty nice. We have matching stock, which is nice. And again, I think that this, oh yeah, that wood's gonna clean up really nice. All right, so let's take a look at the bolt. Also nice and covered. Let's see. And the bolt does match. It's always a good thing. Hard to see what's going on in there. But extractor's present. So that's good. Not too worn, but it's been used. All right, nothing too bad there. That looks pretty good. Okay, again, this was one of the package deals with the bayonet, the rifle, and the box of ammo. So here's the bayonet. Not bad. Some bluing left. Definitely some surface rust towards the end. Well, this side's good. Wow. The grips not matching, but wow, in good shape. Surprised about that. A little bit of pitting. Now, right off the bat, I'm pretty jealous that I couldn't afford one of these right now. This has a beautiful crest on it. The bluing looks fantastic. It was re-blued during the re-arsenal process or the conversion to 8mm Mauser, but it looks fantastic. It's covered with cosmoline, which has trapped quite a bit of dirt in here, but that's going to work to our advantage per usual. And what's unique about this one is it seems to have a leather sling with a nice brass buckle, and the leather is in great condition. Now, what I've always liked about the Mauser variants is so many countries adopted these, and they had such beautiful crests on the receivers, and this one is no exception. The 1904/39 has the same markings as the 1904, which here is the King Carlos crest and is just in beautiful shape. Now, this one, as with the others, was manufactured by DWM in Germany. So this is German manufactured for Portuguese contract, and I imagine is going to be very high quality and in good shape. So I got my casual collector gloves on, and we're going to go ahead and break this down, see what's going on inside, just get it cleaned up, get it reassembled, and let you guys take a look at the finished product. Now, the bolt itself is pretty interesting. It's sort of a combination of the Mauser action with a Mannlicher style bolt. So that should be interesting. I've never played with one of these before, so I look forward to getting in there. Always love something new to learn about. And the wood on here is just in excellent shape. There's a repair on here, which is a factory or arsenal repair. And but other than that, there's no major dings or gouges. There's a couple little, nitpicking items here, but aside from being dirty and just covered in cosmoline, it's in really nice shape, and I know it's going to clean up really well. Same with the sights, the unique front sight hood, which is really cool. There's just a ton of cosmoline in there. It does come with a cleaning rod, which unfortunately is not matching, but everything else I've seen on this so far has been matching, but we'll know more once we get in there. Now, this also came with a beautiful 1904 bayonet. Now, there is a little bit of surface rust on the rear of this one, but it's only on the surface. There's no pitting, so that should come off really easily and clean up nice. The rest of this has great bluing on it, and you see when we take a look at the blade, fantastic shape And of course this one was manufactured by Simpson and Company in Seoul, Germany, and is just a beautiful example of a 1904 bayonet. Of course, it's serial numbered here, like all good German parts. It's not matching to the rifle itself, but it's in beautiful condition, and again, I'm sort of jealous of him. So, fortunately, I didn't have enough to purchase one of these, but at least I get to work on one. So, let's go ahead and get this broken down and take a look at what's going on inside. All right, everything's broken down. Let's take a look at a few of the parts, starting with the barreled action. Really nice shape. Bluing looks really, really good. Crest is nice. Everything's just covered in a nice layer of cosmoline, which did its job. So that's pretty nice. Bunch underneath the sight, but the rear sight looks great. Front sight looks good. No rust or anything underneath the wood line. The only thing I noticed was right here, a couple spots of pitting from before this was re-arsenaled and converted, but otherwise there's no active rust under there, which is good. We have the import mark here, and then butt plate, great shape. A little bit of surface rust here, but no pitting or anything, so that's really good. The front sight protector looks good. Cleaning rod looks great. No damage. Threads are in good condition. This is pretty indicative of how this was packaged. You can see this. The bolt is just swimming in cosmoline, so it's great. It all looks in really good shape. I'm not seeing any issues. Of course, this is a unique bolt design, which is always fun. Follower, magazine spring, everything looks almost perfect. Now I'm hoping that this is an original leather sling, because it looks really great. No cracking, not dried out, anything along those lines. Even the screws are all in really good shape. There's been no damage to the screws, screw heads, which is really nice. Barrel bands, they're all in good shape. The thing I'm most excited about, though, is this beautiful stock. Like, that is really going to clean up nice. Of course, there is a repair done here, but that looks good. No major dings, dents, or gouges. Underneath, we have a couple marks here, but we'll see more of that once we get the magazine out and get these cleaned up. The only bit of wear that I've seen is right here on the magazine floor plate and the trigger guard. Other than that, everything else is in really, really good shape. And look at this wood. I can't wait to clean this up. All right, that's enough talking. I'm going to go ahead and get all this stuff cleaned up. All right, so we got everything that was disassembled all nice and cleaned up. Let's take a look at a few of these parts before we get it back together. Let's start with this stock. This came out really, really nice. You can get a better look at that repair job here. Nicely done. Now there's a few dings and dents right there, but other than that, this stock is in great shape. And that's really nice to see. No cracks. Nice serial number there. Inside, same. It's looking really good. Upper handguard, very similar. A little darker, but very nice also. Let's try the bayonet. Look at this. This is in great shape. Really nice marking there. Right there. Wood's in good shape. Bluing looks nice. Nothing else to really say about this. The only thing is these screws are a little dinged up. But that happens. And I was kind of surprised that overall the rest of the screws on this were in really good shape. You can see here. Springs are in good shape. Everything's great. Good bluing on those. Here's how the scabbard came out. This is real nice. Pretty happy with that. Of course, there's some remnants of bluing loss from the rust there, right there, but overall, this looks really, really good. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the barreled action. Now, here's some of the pitting under the wood line, unfortunately. A little bit there. And then, we have a little here, and so on down the barrel just a touch. Not too bad. Could definitely be worse, definitely seen worse. This is probably the worst one right here. But for the most part, this is in really good shape. What's cool about this is now that it's cleaned up, we can see the previous markings here from the sight when it was a 6.5 caliber. And of course they replaced that with sights appropriate for the 8mm Mauser. Plenty of nice proof marks, inspector marks here. A little bit of freckling there on this side, but great shape. Let's take a look at some of the parts. I'll show you a couple that there was a little bit of condition issues. You can, starting with the magazine, you can see here some rust from being underneath the wood and some bluing loss here. And this is where most of the bluing loss is, on that floor plate of the magazine and underneath the trigger guard. But functions really well. Looks good in there. No issues in that department. One of the other cosmetic issues is this butt plate. Originally, it looked great. We have some wear here. We have some wear here. And then we had some flaking on the top. It's a little bit hard to see, but right in here, some of that bluing is flaking a little bit. The underside, there was some pitting, but nothing too bad there. So that's not horrible. The bolt looks good. There's some wear from use. The bolt does match, which is nice. And this is one of the most interesting bolts that I've taken apart, which is why I was really excited to get to work on my friend's rifle here, because that's one you don't see every day. Anyways, the follower looks great. Really nice bluing. The front sight protectors, also unique and very good shape. Magazine spring, cleaning rod, nothing else out of the ordinary here. Inside of the barrel bands was a little bit of rust. I was able to take care of that, and it looks good now, but I'm glad I got in there and took it apart. Trigger, fine. Everything else is in good shape. Now, the only thing that I had to be careful with was this leather sling. In all honesty, this took me the most time because I didn't want to cause any further cracking or splitting, as I think this is an original sling for this. So, I wondered, I'm not going to polish the buckle and the button until I ask my friend what he would prefer, but at this time I'm going to leave it like this. Now, it was left on the rifle, and you can see there is a little bit of cracking from being in storage, and again here, but overall not too bad, and it's getting some moisture back in it, and I think this will work just fine, especially for his purposes. But really nice to have a hopefully original sling on this guy. All right, let's go ahead and get this back together and we'll show you the finished product. All right, well, we got this cleaned up, and I believe my friend said that this was listed in good condition. And I would agree with that. Usually when things are graded these days, it's sort of, look on the lower end of whatever they're grading. But I would be very happy if I purchased something like this and it was in this good condition, especially if it comes with a bayonet that's in similar condition. This one here looks really great. A little bit of surface rust that came off here, but the grips are intact and no cracks. Really nice. Scabbard also nice. Really clean, other than some surface rust on the back and a couple of dings here and there, but overall in great shape. This for me was particularly interesting due to the design features of sort of the mesh between the Mauser and the Mannlicher design. So I found that really entertaining to work on, and because I've never gotten to do one of those before. So this was really nice, and it was nice to learn a little bit about the history of these. So this model in particular is the 1904/39 Portuguese Mauser, which is really a hybrid of Mauser and the Mannlicher design when it comes to the bolt. Now this was originally chambered in 6.5 Viguero, named after the designer Jose Alberto Viguero, and in 1939 was converted to 7.9, or as we referred to it as 8mm Mauser, in an attempt to upgrade their arsenal while keeping costs low at the same time. So these were sent back to the factory in Germany and were rechambered, as well as the barrel was shortened, the handguard was shortened, and they added these protector wings and a couple other little details. So the bolt has a separate bolt face, and the dual opposed forward locking lugs. Now, this is a cock on open, and the cartridge is also engaged under the extractor when the bolt goes forward. So a couple different design features that make this a interesting blend of the Mannlicher and the Mauser design. So let's go over real quick a couple of unique features about this one in particular. Number one being this repair in the buttstock that was done, I assume, at the Arsenal, because it's really well done, and in my opinion those always look nice. Number two is this beautiful sling, brass buckle, and it's in great shape. I was sort of surprised. It was very dirty, but that cleaned up well, and it's currently hydrating and will be just fine in the future. No major cracks, not completely dried out, so it's going to be just fine. I also really like the fact that they chose to maintain the crest on the receiver. This being King Carlos I in 1904. I believe he was then assassinated in 1908, and the entire monarchy was dissolved in 1910. So for them to make the choice to keep this crest rather than grind it off or put something else on there in place of it is really nice to have, especially for us collectors. Now, of course, this model features the magazine floor plate that drops down, and you can easily dump all of your loaded rounds if you don't want to cycle them through the bolt, which is a nice little safety feature. Other unique things are the front side protectors. Those are really nice and big, blocky, and just looks pretty cool. And it was nice to see some of the original sight markings under here once we got this cleaned up, from once it was the 6.5 Vaquero before it was converted to 8mm Mauser. So overall, a nice little story that it tells about Germany and Portugal and what they went through at this time. So I think those conversions that are done by the military and by the countries themselves are quite interesting in the fact that it helps tell the story of what was happening at that time. So that brings me to the bore. I was a little bit concerned when I saw the condition of the wood and the metal just being full of so much dust and dirt, but I was pleasantly surprised. Excellent rifling, mirror-ish finish in there, no pitting or rusting or gouges or anything that would detract from the accuracy. The crown looks really good, so overall I think this is going to be not only a nice collectible but a great shooter in the long run. So you can't really beat this deal. Came with the cleaning rod, came with a matching bolt, came with a nice sling, bayonet, although that's not matching, plus 940 rounds of 8mm Mauser, Greek surplus. Although it is corrosive, I still think this is an overall great deal, and if I'm not mistaken, these, as of the 21st of December, are still on sale at Atlantic Firearms. So if you were wondering, I have a couple of reference books, starting with Ludwig Olsen's Mauser bolt-action rifles. Great book, lots of individual history, and this one particularly was listed under his unique examples, and I thought that was pretty cool. So a good book all around. You can get some of the earlier versions at a cheaper cost. And speaking of which, there's Robert Ball's Mauser Military Rifles of the World. This is the 4th edition. There's a 5th, even a 6th, I think. But this is one that I found that I could afford. Anyway, there's quite a bit of great information in both of these. If you can't get both of them, I'd probably start with this one. It's very good, very comprehensive, and covers a lot of the bases. Now, I am no bayonet expert, but Pointy Not Sharp did a great video on this if you are interested in some more detail on these specific bayonets. And there's quite a few other unboxings and cleanups out there, so I'd encourage you to go and take a look at those also if you're considering one of these for yourself. So overall, I think these are a really great piece of history, and I was more than happy to have one to work on. So the only thing I don't like about this is that this one is not in my collection. So I'll have to see if I can bait my friend into trading with me sometime in the future. But I appreciate you guys watching as always. So until next time, keep your fingers off the trigger, and we'll see you later.